Are you the victim or the victor? That was a very blunt question asked of me by a friend about 14 years ago, and I had no clue how to answer her because at the time I was playing the role of victim. This is not about a bad day at work. This is a very personal story that I'm sharing of the abusive relationship that I was in for 10 years with an abusive man, the father of my children. This is a self reflection of how I got away. This isn't me telling you to hurry up and get out. If you're in a dangerous situation, such as an abusive relationship, please wait until you have a safe space to go to with safe people before you decide to get out. And not just you, your children, your pets, or anyone else in the situation. That question, victim or victor, it's stayed with me for a long time. It was profound, and yet I stayed for over 10 years. When I met him, it was all fun. He was a musician on 6th Street, and I was working in bars. We had no responsibilities. It was all about what bar we were going to next, what drug we could get into, what we were doing the next minute, the next day, the next night. And with a lot of situations where drugs and alcohol are involved, the fun eventually stops. His anger came out in waves. And like any other abusive relationship, it doesn't happen all the time. There's the ups and downs, the love bombing, followed by the abuse. And I told myself, it's only happening once or twice a month. Maybe he can change. He has it in him. He's such an amazing person. And I still believe that to this day. But he did not want to change. He did not want to take responsibility for what he did to me. And I was playing the role that he needed me to play. And I just kept telling myself, this isn't my fault. So I don't need to change. I just have to wait. And then there was also kind of a payoff. My friends and family, they all felt bad for me. And that pity was just something I kind of got addicted to. Not everyone stayed close. Some friends who loved me stepped away because watching me repeat the same patterns was hurting their own mental health. And that was its own kind of loss. And the hard part too, if I left, what would I do? Especially with the kids. One thing that an abuser liked to do is to remove you from family and friends, and he loved to make it sound like I was the crazy one. Not that I was innocent in any of it. Like I said, I played that victim role that he needed for me to be. And I allowed him to get me pregnant again and again so he can have control over me. And this doesn't mean that the abuse was my fault. Far from it, because it never is. But staying and the ways I made staying possible, all the times and the places I was given to get away, and I did, but I always went back. And that part is on me. I'm not saying that my children weren't blessings. They changed me into the woman that I am today. And they were one of the main reasons why I needed to get away, to be more than a victim. But I stayed because I kept thinking, I want my family. He could change. My kids can have a father. He was great with them until he wasn't. And I knew it was only going to get worse. I saw what it did to my oldest daughter, how angry she was for years, even as a baby. She watched everything. And even if she doesn't remember specifics, I know it is ingrained into her memories. And it wasn't until she was about 9 years old that I finally said no more. Because she looked at me and said, "Mom, I don't want to see my dad hurt you anymore." And that still stings to this day. But I knew then that that was it. I was done. And at the time, we had tried to rekindle things just as many times before. We weren't living together. He had his own space up in Austin and had only been visiting for 2 weekends. And in the same visit, it happened again, and all three of my children witnessed it. We were fortunate though because his birth mother was in town and had already planned to take him back home. So we had someone that was able to quickly diffuse the situation and get him out. I had good intentions. I wanted to keep my family together. But what I was actually teaching my children was that the abuse was okay. As long as we had our family together, we could look past all of that. That it's okay to stay the victim. Because if you love someone enough, it's all about the family. But I knew that wasn't enough. I was destroying my oldest daughter, and my other two would quickly be on the same path. Though my two youngest were more fortunate than my oldest daughter, as they didn't have to experience or see as much as she did, it was still the wrong decision to let him come back into our lives. Even to this day, I still see the pain in her eyes. It's been a long journey to help her through it. And though our relationship has always been close, and she's honest with me, she had told me that I choose terrible men and to never date again, even though her father was the only one that she's ever known for me to date. But she wasn't wrong. This was a pattern for me. But now that she sees me in a healthy and safe relationship, the trust being rebuilt, that I can choose a good man, that matters the most out of everything throughout all of this. Leaving was not easy. It wasn't all happiness and rainbows and celebrations. I had been through it many times. But this time, it was different. I had gone through years of depression. I wanted to give up. I wanted to run away. I wanted to be somebody different because I didn't know what steps to take. All I knew was that I needed to take care of my children. And fortunately, I was able to find work to help me do that. I'm so grateful for the path that I've taken. But the depression, the identity change, the grief, the isolation, nobody tells you about that part. Raising 3 kids on my own, it was crippling. And though I had my family and my life to help me, and I appreciate them every day for it, I just felt lost for a long time. I also had close friends who helped me through it, but that wasn't enough. It didn't fix anything right away. I believed that I was a victim for the longest time. And once you try to climb out of that, it's so hard. You don't want to face yourself. I know I did not want to face myself and be honest about my role in all of it and why I kept let it happening. But I had to put a mirror to my face. And though it is never right for anyone to inflict any kind of pain, whether it be physical, mental, or even through neglect, that is never your fault. But to allow it to keep happening over and over, that's where I had to look at myself and to ask, why did I feel like I deserved it? I would scroll through social media and see people say, do the inner work. But what the hell does that mean? Journaling was a big part of my journey and healing, to self-reflect on answers, but also taking responsibility, forgiving myself for what my children had to endure, to believe that I had to endure it to keep my family together. I did go to therapy, but I don't think therapy was what helped me get through it or what saved me. It does give you tools, so if you don't have tools to help you, go and get them. Find someone who's been through it too. But another thing is that I had to find things that I love to do. And if you don't have hobbies, just try anything and everything. I had picked up hula hoops. I had started wire wrapping jewelry. I started making videos. But one thing that I can say that really helped me through it to help me grow and heal was gardening. Putting my fingers into the dirt, laying my head in the grass, breathing, and remembering that I'm still alive and my kids are still here and they still need me. And as for family and friends, allow them to be honest with you. You might feel defensive at first. I know I did. I would just think, God, they're being such assholes. They don't understand. But they're outside of the situation and they're all coming from love. Just really let yourself take in what they're trying to say to you. And I want to be clear, feeling angry, feeling grief, feeling like you're wrong, that is not victim mentality. That's just being human. Victim mentality is when that just becomes your whole identity and you stop looking for what else there is out there, for who you actually are and who you are to the people around you. So it's been 5 years since I stepped away from that whole situation, and I still have days where I feel like I've taken 20 steps back. I cry, I scream, I get angry, but that's okay because I'm letting it out. I'm not holding it in anymore because it doesn't belong to me anymore. I'm not the victim. That doesn't mean that I don't still feel it. I absolutely 100% do. There's still remnants of the old me inside, but I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for her. And then I take a step forward. Maybe it's just one step, maybe it's 5, but eventually you get back there and you progress. It's like a new plant that looks like it's dying. The leaves are going brown, it looks like it's wilting, and you think, what's the point? Might as well just dump it into the compost bin. But you decide, I'm going to keep feeding it nutrients. I'm going to still water it. I'm going to make sure it gets enough sunlight. And then it comes back. Maybe not the same way it did before, but it comes back. So are you the victim or the victor? Not from what happened to you, but what you're doing with it right now. My daughter, my children are the reasons that I chose to become a victor instead of a victim. And if nobody has told you yet, there are people around you that love you, that deserve to see you do that too. But also, love on yourself too, because you're not a victim. You're the victor. If you need a journal, do it. If you need to talk to somebody, do it. If you need to look at yourself in the mirror and shake yourself to wake up, then do it. The only way that you choose being a victor over a victim is taking the steps to get out of that cycle. We all have the victor inside of us. We just have to choose it. And I hope you do. If you have any comments or questions, or if you need to send me a personal DM about your own personal situation, please do. Feel open. I am here to help you through whatever you need to do as much as I can as a single mother. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you're choosing to be a victor today. Have a beautiful day.